Good morning and welcome to day 7. When we're looking at our formula apps today, I think we want to try to accomplish two things. Most of us got pretty well caught up yesterday. The rest of us need to make sure that we do today before we start this session 7. In session 7, we're going to talk about some terms like mean, median, and mode. For our 6th graders, that's total review. For some of our 4th graders, it's new, but I'll bet everybody's heard of your grade average. Teachers averaging your grades. When teachers average your grades, they are using this thing called a mean. They're adding up all your grades and dividing by how many there are. And that gives you the mean grade or your average grade. And that's all there is to it. Median and mode are even easier. I've included this picture in your assignments file. Feel free to look at it, to print it out. Definitely should look at it and read it. You can print it out if you want to. One of the things I've been noticing over the last couple days is that people are sharing their files with me 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 times. Almost like every time they do one little thing, they want to share it. People, please finish your file and then share it with me. If we need to make corrections and have you reshare it, that's good. But try to get clear through it, or at least get to a point where you know you can't do anything else, and then share it with me and ask for help. Along those lines, particularly for some of my 6th graders, for whom a lot of this is review, I'm seeing people saying things like, Mr. Boland, I don't know what the formula for the circumference of a circle is. Or, Mr. Boland, I don't know how to find a little code to put into my formula app to square something or to cube something. All of that information is readily available to you. You've got your book, you've got your laminated sheets that I've given you, and you've got Google. There's no reason, particularly for a 6th grader, to say to me, Mr. Boland, how do I find the perimeter of an equilateral triangle? We know how we find the perimeter of any other triangle. It's A plus B plus C. But someone says to me, Mr. Boland, you only gave me A on an equilateral triangle. Well, we're not going to spoon feed you. You need to do some thinking. Like, what is an equilateral triangle? Oh, yeah, all the sides are the same, so I guess he only has to give me one side. You need to do some thinking on your own before you ask me questions like that. So, in that vein and that idea, I'm not going to tell people what the codes are for mean, median, and mode. To do that in Formula app, I'm not even going to tell you if they're on that sheet that I already gave you full of codes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that I'm a student and that I don't know how to do it. And rather than say, Mr. Boland, what's the code for mean or what's the code for median? What could I do? Well, I'll tell you what I did early this morning. I went to Google and I Googled the term Google Sheets formulas for mean, median, mode. That's what I want to know. I want to know what are the codes for mean, median, and mode. And I don't want to know what they are for Excel or some other spreadsheet. I want to know what they are for Google Sheets. So I typed in Google Sheets formulas for mean, median, and mode. And immediately a lot of things popped up. Oh, including a video. I like videos. I do happen to do better with videos than I do with reading. So I went to that video, and it turns out it's someone who's doing exactly what we want to do. He's telling us how to create formulas for mean, median, and mode. And I don't care if his data has to do with hospitals or softball batting averages or anything else. I just want to learn how to do median and median mode. So instead of me telling you, I'm going to let him tell you. And this is what would happen if you had searched for it yourself. At some point, he's going to start talking about some things besides mean, median, and mode, and we'll stop the video there.
In this video, I will show you how we can use commands in Google Sheets to calculate the mean, median, and mode, and then we will use a pivot table to show how we can calculate the mean and the median based on a categorical data set. So I'm going to take the average patient satisfaction rating and break that into the mean for the system hospitals, the mean for the independent hospitals, and the mean for the network hospitals. But before we do that, let's focus on how we can use basic commands in Google Sheets to find the mean and the median. If you've used Excel, Google Sheets is going to operate in a almost identical fashion. What we need to do is to click on a cell, any cell outside of the data set, and we want to tell or give a formula to Google Sheets and tell Google Sheets to take this column and find the average of the values in that column. And we know that average and mean are synonyms of one another. So what I will do is I will click on a cell and I'll begin to type. I will press the equal sign, and by pressing the equal to sign, it's saying this cell will equal, and then once you begin to type average, so A-V-E-R-A-G-E, you will see a few different items come up. And the one that we want is the one at the top. It says average, and it says numerical average value in a data set, ignoring text. So what this will do, once we open up a parenthesis here, is it'll take all the values in that column and it'll find the mean. So I'm going to open a parenthesis, so I'll hold down Shift and hit 9, and that will give me a parenthesis. And what we need to tell Google is what column do we want. If you don't want a column, you could select just a few values, a few individual cells, but here we do want specific columns. So maybe we want to do the pediatric 30-day readmission rate. So I'm going to go over and click on E. That will highlight the entire column. And if I press enter, I will have that value calculated for me. Now, I don't want to lose track of what that value is, so maybe right above it, I will put the mean readmission rate for pediatric patients. So now I know that that is the mean readmission rate for pediatric patients. I'm going to go down a little bit and go ahead and do the mean readmission rate for adult patients if you want to try to do that. To do that, you would press equal to, begin to type average, open up your parenthesis, select the column, and hit enter. And we want to label what this is. This is the mean readmission rate for adult patients. Okay, so far so good. Now we can also use different commands to find the median and the mode. So to do that, we're going to just go down below and I'll press equal to, and I'll begin to type median. And there we go. The function here, median, appears. I will open up my parenthesis. I will select the column that I want and hit enter. And right above that, I will write median readmission rate. And this was for pediatric patients. Now I'm getting a little disorganized over here. You would probably want to organize these a little nicer. If you don't want your text to go all the way and spread into other columns, you can select the cell, go up to Format, Text Wrapping, and Wrap, and it'll group everything into the same width. So I'm going to do the same thing for these two cells. So I'll highlight them, go to Format, Text Wrapping, Wrap. And so if we can do the same thing once again, if we want to do the median readmission rate, so the median readmission rate for adult patients. Below that, I'll have equal to sign. I'll begin to type median. I'll select the column and hit enter. All right. Now the last thing we want to do is mode. And you guessed it, you can hit equal to, begin to type mode, select the column that you want, and we will get, I'm just going to write mode for pediatric to to abbreviate. And you can do the same thing for the adults. This is mode for adults. Now, in both of these instances, we actually do have a mode. If you don't have a mode, you will get a return that says it'll be an error. So I know for a fact that the hospital column doesn't have a mode. So let me just show you what you get. So if you do mode and then select this hospital column, you get the # not available. So that's telling you there is no mode. So these commands can be used if we want to find the.
All right. Now that I thought was pretty well explained. So what I have done is created a sheet in each of your formula apps. You can go back and review that video, or you can look anywhere else you want to find commands for mean, median, and mode. Let's go over very briefly what median and mode mean for our fourth graders. Mode simply means the number that happens the most often. If you look at this first set of numbers, 7, 8, 8, 8, 10, 12, 13, 19, the most frequently occurring one is 8. The second one, 7, 8, 8, 10, 12, 12, 13, there are 2 8s and 2 12s. So they are modes. With 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 15, 27, there's no mode, and don't worry about the rule. It's just true that if it's 7, 7, 10, 10, 13, 13, 27, 27, there's still no mode because there's nothing that actually appears more often than anything else. Median just means the middle number when we put the numbers in order. If I have the numbers 7, 10, 8, 10's not the middle. I have to put them in order, so I've got 7, 8, 10, and then 8 would be the middle number. So you can review that sheet, and I think that'll be enough to let you know what mean, median, and mode are. I have created this sheet for all of you in your formula app. It's just titled Sheet. You need to change that to something like Statistics. You could just even copy and paste statistics, maybe add, there should maybe be an S there. So you could put an S in yours, basic statistics, then copy that and name your sheet that. Also, make sure where it says formula app, last name, first name, that you put your last name and your first name in there. I'd like you guys to, first of all, everybody, without using Google Sheets to do it for you, I'd like you to calculate the mean of this column and put it over here where it says hand calculations. You can look back at this sheet. It'll tell you how to do the mean. Basically, you're just going to add those numbers up and then divide by how many numbers there are and then write it in here. I'd like you to lay the numbers out in order and find the middle number and write it there. And then I'd like you to tell me whether or not any of those numbers appear more than once. If it is, write the number, and if not, write the word none. Then in these little areas here, I would like you to actually calculate the mean of this column, the median of this column, and the mode of this column. I will say that there's one thing, apparently our Google Sheets has been updated since he made that video, because if I type equal, M-O-D-E, I get several choices. Mode singular, mode multi. That's the one we want to use, because if a data set has more than one number that is the mode, this will not show them. It will only show the lowest one. Mode multi will show them all. And if there's no mode, it'll still tell you there's no mode. If there's only one mode, it'll tell you. That's what we'd like to do. That's all we need to do today. I've even created sheets for you. And this little blue box, tell Google Sheets to create the mean of this column, the median, and the mode. And let's have some fun seeing what it will do. And that's our assignment for today. We'll look forward to talking with you later.